Hi guys! So not only do I get a lot of questions from expecting parents asking for help choosing the perfect name for their new arrival, I also get a lot of questions from writers asking me for help naming their characters. And I love to offer advice wherever I can, but I thought that maybe this video might help inspire some of the writers out there. So this video is going to be talking about names from literature that were actually invented by authors for the stories that they were used in. And so hopefully this will inspire some of the writers out there to maybe invent their own literary names, and who knows, maybe that name will come into common use in the future, just like some of these names. So I'm going to start with the girls, and the first name I have is one that has really been growing on me lately. I love this name, and that is Wendy. And Wendy was very infrequently used as a nickname for Gwendolyn, but it didn't come into common usage until J.M. Barrie used it for his play Peter Pan. And most of you are probably familiar with the name and the play through the Disney version. But Barrie was apparently inspired to use the name Wendy because his friend had a little daughter who really admired him, and she couldn't say friend because she couldn't say her R's, just like a lot of little girls, and so she said that he was her Wendy, which I thought was really cute. The next name I have is Imogen, and Imogen is a Shakespearean coinage, and apparently Shakespeare meant to use the name Imogen, but a misprint gave us this beautiful alternative. The next name is one of my personal favorite names right now, and that is Vanessa. And Vanessa was invented by the writer Jonathan Swift, and he actually invented this name based off of the name of a girl he knew, Esther Van Homrey, and he took the first syllable of her last name, which was Van, and then her pet name, which was Essa, and added them together and got Vanessa, which I think is just a beautiful coinage. The next name I have is Araminta, and I think this name definitely deserves more recognition. I think that it is a great alternative to some of the really frilly, girly names that are really popular right now, because it is very girly, but it's not so popular. And this one is considered a coinage of either Sir John Vanbrugh or William Congreve. But since they both used it in their writing around the same time, there is some speculation that it was already being used as a name, but it definitely didn't become popular until they used it in their writing. The next one is a gorgeous name as well, and that is Fiona. And Fiona was invented by the Scottish poet John Macpherson in the 1700s, and it is possibly his translation of the Gaelic name Fionn. The next one is also a Shakespearean coinage, and it was a name that was very popular in the 1980s and 1990s. It's not so popular anymore, it's kind of declining in popularity, and that is Jessica. And Jessica was first found in this form as a character in Shakespeare's play The Merchant of Venice, which happens to be my favorite Shakespearean play. And it's possibly inspired by the biblical name Isca. The next name is Pamela, and Pamela was actually invented by Sir Philip Sidney for his character in The Countess of Pembroke's Arcadia, and this may have been a combination of the Greek words for all and honey. The next name is Perdita, and Perdita is another Shakespearean coinage. Shakespeare really liked to create unique names for his characters, and a lot of them are still in use today. And this one was taken from the Latin word perditus, which means lost, and he used this name for the heroine of his play The Winter's Tale. And then I have a more modern coinage, and that is Arwen. And Arwen was, of course, a name that was invented by J.R.R. Tolkien for his Lord of the Rings trilogy. And the last girl's name I have is the beautiful name Evangeline. And Evangeline was first used by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow for his poem Evangeline. And Evangeline comes from the Greek euangela, which means good news. So for boys, the first name I have is Cedric, and Cedric was invented by Sir Walter Scott for his novel Ivanhoe, and it may have been a misread of the name Cerdic, but if it was a misread, I'm glad it was misread because I think Cedric is much more handsome sounding than Cerdic. The next one is Orville, and Orville was invented by writer Fanny Burney, who may have been trying to create a name that meant Golden City, since Or means gold in French and Ville means city. Then I have Percival, and Percival was a name created by the poet Chrétien de Troyes for his poem Percival, the Story of the Grail, which is a story poem based on Arthurian legend. The next one I'm not so sure is very usable, but I think it's a really cool name anyways, and definitely a guilty pleasure type name for me, and that is Malvolio, and this was another Shakespearean coinage. He used it for a character in his play Twelfth Night. Then I have one of my favorite names of all time, and that is Caspian, and C.S. Lewis used this name for a character in his Narnia series. He probably took the name from the name of the Caspian Sea, but this is the first time that it was really used for a person or a character. The next one is a name that's really been growing on me, and that is Dorian. And Dorian was first used by Oscar Wilde for his famous novel, The Picture of Dorian Gray. And then I have another one that I'm not so sure is usable, but I thought was really cool, so I put it on the list anyways, and that is Figaro. And Figaro was created by Pierre-Augustin Caron de Beaumarchais for his plays The Barber of Seville, The Marriage of Figaro, and The Guilty Mother, which are all very famous. And the last name I have, I'm sure you will all recognize, and that is Frodo. And Frodo was a name that J.R.R. Tolkien used for his Hobbit hero in The Lord of the Rings, and he derived this name from the German word Frod, which means wise. So those are just a few names that authors have come up with in the past for their characters. If you know of any others, I would love to hear them because I think literary coinages are very interesting names. And if you have come up with any of your own names for your characters, I would also love to hear those. And as always, thanks so much for watching, guys. I will talk to you later. Bye!